Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I found this story a couple of days ago. It's kind of one of those side sites that obviously are desperate for clicks and getting attention, like so many websites are today. And you know what? I didn't set up my overlay screen. Let me do that real quick. Shows you what happens when I forget to set up everything. I have to do it on the fly. There we go. And then I have to adjust it to make sure it fits in my window. Anyway, so I found this article a couple of days ago, and what happened is I got scooped. I very rarely get scooped on my stories, and then getting scooped is where another YouTuber decides to do the same story that you've got planned out. But I made my thumbnail, and I've been doing this, and I saw today when I woke up the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, which I enjoy. I actually watch these guys. If you don't give them a watch, they talk about pop culture. They talk about politics and many other things. I saw the thumbnail and it was like, oh, geez, it's from the article that I was going to do. I haven't watched their episode yet, but it's how to hide a promiscuous past from your new man, which is, as you can see here. And I was like, man, that sucks. I hate getting beat out on an article, but in the same token, I realized, you know what, this may not actually be a bad thing, because it goes to show you, and it goes to say what I've said many times, that even people that are not in the manosphere, so to speak, people that don't normally talk about this stuff, they're seeing these articles. They're coming across this stuff, and they're talking about it, which just goes to show you that the craziness and the silliness that these women are propagating and pushing forth is making it into the mainstream, which means more and more men are learning about this, which means more and more men are going to be protected. So even though podcast The Lotus Eaters beat me to the punch, I'm kind of glad they did. But let's talk about the story here, because it's still pretty important, I think, because what's happening is men, especially the men that are kind of traditional or conservative or are good men, they're saying, you know something, marriage and dating these women, it's not turning out so great for us. And we're getting broken up with. We're getting our hearts broken. We're getting cheated on. We're finding out she has a higher body count than she said she did. And we're not so much in on this. And instead of women cleaning up their acts, instead of women saying, you know something, guys don't like it when it's time to settle down or find a boyfriend or get married or have kids or whatever. Guys do not like women that have had risky bad pasts. Well, instead of cleaning it up, instead, what Lulz has decided to do is put out an article expressing what many do in the female dating strategies on Reddit and many other women are pushing for, which is, well, just lie about your past. Just hide it. Just be a deceitful person. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Just hide it. And what happens if you're the guy who thinks you found a good woman and all of a sudden you find out she's got a body count in the very high double or triple digits? Well, that's going to be a bad time for you. And all this does is this re-cements our messaging of, hey, you got to be really careful, because women are just fine lying to you about what they've done in their past. So this is how to hide a promiscuous past from your new man. Sometimes the sex is so slamming you can't risk scaring him off. Here's what you got to do. In other words, sometimes you're getting the D so good from your current guy, or you've gotten it so good in your past, you better lie to your new boyfriend about it. They say, first of all, let's make one thing perfectly clear. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being easy. I can't even read this word on YouTube without getting demonetized. So they're saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with having a huge body count. The fact is, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. Okay, yeah, kissing's one thing. Having your legs folded up behind your ears and letting every guy have a sample of that is completely different. They say in this year of 2022, people are free to express sex no matter their color or creed. Again, you can express it, sure. But if you express it dozens, hundreds of times, you're going to have a problem. They say also your current partner is the only person it could possibly concern, and that means that a wild ride is by definition the past. In an ideal world, men wouldn't care about our number whatsoever. But seeing as this is still a white supreme patriarchy, we're going to go ahead and assert that men absolutely will find issue with a woman having scored numbers on the higher end of the easy woman spectrum. Now, notice, again, this is not a parody article. And notice, again, that they're blaming it on us white guys and the patriarchy instead of just saying, hey, you know what, guys don't like easy women. They never have. They never have. Long before the internet, long before anything. As a matter of fact, if you go way back in time, women who got pregnant outside of wedlock, they were sent off to like a nunnery, and they had the kid quietly and put the kid up for adoption and then came back. And the men ran off to the military, or the men that got them in the motherly way. This is not new. Men do not want an easy woman because if they have a high body count and they're promiscuous in their past, men's fears are, and this is hardwired in men's biology, men's fears are that the woman will repeat that and either cheat on him, step out behind his back, and maybe sire a child that isn't his. And that is a real worry for men, and it's a real thing, of course, that happens. But, of course, they're going to blame it on, I guess, white guy patriarchy. Now, if I ask those of you that are not of the fairer skin tone, the brothers out there, the Asians, the Latinos, the whatever, if I were to ask you guys, it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with easy women because you don't like it any more than guys like me do. And, of course, they show here all the Salute Pride marches. And, of course, the guys like it. Well, at least guys like this like it because they go, hey. And if you look at this picture, there's not a whole lot of winners in this picture. But they're like, hey, yeah, women, be easy. Please, just be easy with me, make sure. They say, and sometimes the sex is so good you can't risk scaring him off. This tutorial is for those times. Here's what you got to do. So I guess if your side piece is slamming you really good, hide it from the current boyfriend. Again, why have the current boyfriend? Why lie to him? Because women want to act bad with the bad boys and have their fun. But then when it's time to settle down, they don't want to settle down with a bad boy because they know he's going to go out and sleep with other women too. They don't want a promiscuous man either. They want Mr. Old Reliable, Mr. Good Guy at home. But they want to act like they're a good person too. They say, so rule number 1, try to find out the number of people he has slept with. I thought that doesn't matter. Oh, but it does. You got to find out his number. She says, if it's more than what you've bagged so far, chill. You don't have to say anything. So in other words, if he's had, I don't know, 100 partners and she's had 90, it's okay. You don't have to just hide it. Don't worry about it. Well, here's the thing. If you're going for Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Guy Next Door, Mr. Reliable, odds are he's probably not even well into the double digits because things are a lot different for your average guy today than they are for the average women. They say lie. It's that simple. Important, and then follow up with an almost virginal act, but don't overdo it. So, in other words, act like the girl next door. Say you're the girl next door, even though you may have a body count in the high double or triple digits. Just lie. That's the best way to start a relationship, according to these women, is just lie right out of the gate. They say tell all if you must, but with a twist. Like promoting a couple of bonks to an old boyfriend status. That way you can get down to telling tales about 2 or 3 men in total. I don't know, like promoting a couple of bonks to an old boyfriend status. Oh, I guess so they're saying, like, say some of these indiscriminate men in your past were old boyfriends, and then explaining that it was 2 or 3 men in total instead of the total number of people. Okay. They say tell the truth? Maybe. This is modern dating advice. Maybe tell the truth nowadays. Some men are actually not bothered by a woman's lively past. But before you tell all, be sure that you are dating one. Be sure that you are dating one such. How do you find out? Well, is he hot? Well, here's the thing. Obviously, a hot guy is going to have a much higher body count than your average everyday dude. But I got news for you, ladies. A guy with a really high body count and that's really good looking, he's not going to want to settle down with an easy woman either. He's got choices. He's got options. And so he'll go on continuing to sleep with and have fun with tons and tons of women. And the only one he's going to settle with is one that's probably not got a super high body count. It's just the way it is. Pretend past lovers were terrible. Now, here's the key word, pretend. Obviously, they're saying lie. Tell them that they were all terrible, and that way it's not going to be on his mind. And, of course, the follow-up to that would be tell the current guy you're with he's the best you've ever had. Again, what are the odds that you can actually believe her? Because these lies start piling up. Guys, how many times have you been in a relationship and your Spider-Man tingle sense starts going off and you go, something's up. Something's weird's going on here. I don't know what it is, but I'm getting uncomfortable. This is part of it. When she tells you, oh, my last boyfriends were bad, here's another one they often do, and I found this after the fact. My ex-boyfriends were harmful, or they were bad, or they treated me badly, or they did bad things to me. And so we broke up because it wasn't my fault. He was a very harmful guy. I was in a real situation, dating somebody, and when we started dating, and they were talking about their ex, they said he was a bad dude. And I won't go into all the details, but she said they broke up because he was a harmful dude and did bad things to her. And I, of course, I believed her, number one. And number two, I felt bad for her. I said, oh, geez, man, I don't do things like that. I mean, obviously time will tell. My words, my actions have to speak instead of my words. And I felt bad for her situation. Well, after we had broken up and I still kind of kept tabs and communications with her, what I found out was actually he wasn't a bad person at all. He had broken it off with her because he found out, just as I found out, that she had a pretty bad past. And he actually wasn't a bad guy at all. How do I know? Because she went back talking with him and eventually went back to dating him. Well, dating meaning he decided to sleep with her again. So he wasn't a bad guy after all. It was just, and he was the one that broke up with her. It was just that she had to find some reason to explain to me, because she couldn't say she got dumped for being promiscuous by him. So she lied to me about that. So here they say, pretend the past lovers were terrible. And even if you have decided to reveal everything, remember that when you did, you didn't enjoy it very much either. Make sure to lie about that too. It's not that it didn't mean anything. It's just that with him, it means so much, or with your new guy, it means so much more. So tamper your truth or dare with a bit of, baby, you're the best, always go down well. Jeez. This is actually very, very poisonous if this is what young women are being taught today. And this is what my ex did, and she said about her ex. She said, and say that the old boyfriend treated you poorly, did bad things to you. Don't let your man think too critically when you're being creative with your truth. Toy with his emotions by hinting or even saying outright that a lot of these old boyfriends were harmful to you. So she really wanted to be with just one guy and just be treated special with one guy. It's not her fault she slept with and had a lot of boyfriends. She'd get with a guy and they were all bad to her, and so she had to move on to another guy. Over and over and over again. They are willing this is their advice. Say that these men were bad to her, and that's why she didn't stay with them, instead of actually just being honest and saying, you know what, I just wanted to sleep around a lot. And remember, these men that are her previous boyfriends, these are the guys that are saying, hey, these are false allegations. She's lying about me. I never did these things about her. This is how men end up getting in jail, and men getting falsely accused of things is by lies like this. And this is probably the scariest part about this whole relationship, or this whole article, is they're basically saying it's okay to lie that a man harmed you so that you can hide your promiscuous past from your next dude. That's frightening. That's really, really frightening. And the fact that she would make these stories up just to hide her past tells you what kind of person she is and who you'd end up with eventually. They say do your cyber op sec and do it right. You already knew to prune any evidence from your social media, but I bet you didn't know you should also create a plausible cover story for missing information or blocks of time. Blaming it on an ex hacking and vandalizing your accounts after a bad breakup is the good old trusty. But you can really cook with your creative juices here. The more elaborate and pre-planned the story, the harder it will be to crack for your new dude's prodding questions. Have an answer to every question. Most importantly, have fun. Have fun, most importantly. Have fun making up your fake past, hiding your real past, coming up with lies, and manipulating the man that you're hoping to date next. Have fun with it, ladies, is their advice. This is sickening. This is sickening. And here's the sad part about this. A lot of women are starting to do this now. Again, if you go to FDS, which is Female Dating Strategy on Reddit, I've done posts from there before. And there's 100, 200,000, women on there. And this isn't the only place. But again, I've talked, look at all the articles I do. It's all over the place. Some of them in the New York Post, some of them in the Daily Mail, where they're talking about hiding and being manipulative. As a matter of fact, Jenna Hawking, one of our favorites here on one of my favorites here on the channel to make fun of, I think, yeah, here's a story I've got coming up here. Secret overseas Tinder trick for 15 men in 21 days. Oh, how can you be with 15 men in 21 days? From Jana Hawking. I'll be doing that in an upcoming video. Ultimate way to get multiple dates while on holiday is hiding in a Tinder secret feature. It's not a secret feature, by the way. And an author used it to her advantage. They're proud and out there about being manipulative and lying to men to get good men after they've had a bad past. They're just out there with it now. And the problem is, the problem is not for these women. The problem is for the legitimately good women, the women that have not been promiscuous, the women that maybe have had a couple of bad boyfriends or had a guy that actually did harmful things to them. The problem is for those women. Because what's going to happen is that woman who doesn't have a bad past and is actually a decent woman who has maybe had a bad time or two in her previous relationships, she's going to get in a relationship and she's going to say, I don't have a bad past. I did have a couple of bad boyfriends that treated me poorly. And regular guys are going to say, I've heard of this before. I've seen this article. She's lying about her past. And so now she must be promiscuous and must be guys really didn't do bad things to her in her past, so I don't believe her. Those are the women this is going to hurt. So once again, women, other women behaving badly are going to hurt you. And if you don't stand up and speak out against these kind of articles, you're going to get painted as being a bad woman just like all the others. And then when men don't want to come right out and date and they point to things like this, you know why. So good women are letting other women pull down the entire world of women. They say, and finally, always bring trusted friends in on the conspiracy. One more thing, make sure your friends are briefed. You don't want to be in a social situation where one of them suddenly blurts out, do you remember when we were in Ibiza and you did it with 3 men on one night in front of your man? And then here's the follow-up. P.S. Did you know you can order a quick test for 10 STDs?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Oh, so they put an ad for a to test yourself if you have a bad infection. This is from Slay Queen. Here's some of the posts, by the way, to this. Here's from Slay Queen. I just tell my current LVM, low value male at the moment. Okay, so these are literally terms from Reddit. I just tell my current low value male at the moment that I don't enjoy sex at all, but for him I'll do it if he'll pay my rent and buy all my meals. Oh, I love it. They're proving my point. From Anon. They say, so you're easy. You sell your, this is replying to this other slay queen up here. So you're easy. You sell your body to men and think that you're slaying. You're easy, nothing more. This from Anonymous, number 6, and say they harmed you. Don't ever wonder why people don't believe women about being harmed when you do advice like this. I can't read half these words here on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Yep. These are some pretty good comments. I can't read them all, obviously, but you get the idea. You get the idea. Women are perfectly fine. And here's another article before I move on. Here's another article from Lulz. I love him dearly, but I want to experience hookup culture. I don't want to lose him, but I also want to experience the single life I see my friends enjoying. This is the mindset of so many women today. I want it all. I want to sleep with the hot guys, but they won't keep me around. They just use me. But I'm okay with that because I like feeling pretty and desired by and being slammed, folded up like origami and having my insides rearranged by hot guys. I'm okay with that. But what do I do when I want to settle down? When I want to be with a good man that's going to be a good husband and a good father? How do I have it all? I want it all. And this is the kind of advice. Now, and the other thing too is I went through some of the other what's the word? Some of the other articles here. And they actually kind of have, like, they have parenting stories and they have business stories. So not all of them are, not all of them are kind of clickbait, rage bait like this stuff. Like how to book your band's first gig, how to start an Instagram thread, 6 ways to build your willpower glamour sham, 5 genius tips to look productive at work without actually doing anything. That tells you all you need to know about this type of stuff. But here's my point. Number 1, women, you're hurting your own cause. Men, be well aware that women have no problems in lying about their pasts and hiding it. And now do so proudly. That's the first takeaway. So understand that, lying is happening. Number 2, understand that these stories are not just being spread on Red Pill or men's channels. They're making their way into, again, political and other things. I started to listen to this. I'm about a minute into it, but I didn't want to listen to them do the video because sometimes that subliminally will reflect in what I say about the video. So I'll watch their version of it after I get done with this because I don't want to steal their ideas accidentally. But the other thing, they've got 250,000 subs. They're not a tiny channel, and they're getting out there. And that's at 100,000 views. Perhaps some of you have seen it over there. So this information is making its way out there. And women, you better be afraid. Let me tell you right now, you better be afraid because the good women and the bad women better be afraid because men are learning your games. And the funny thing is, and the sad thing, but it's still going to happen, is that even if you're a good woman, because of other bad women acting so poorly and lying about it and making false claims and making false stories and saying men are bad and my exes did all these harmful things to me, that if you're a good woman who has had bad dudes in your life and things are not your fault, when you tell your next guy, here's what really happened to me, he may very well reflect back on this story or the video that Podcast Lotus Eaters did or me do, and they say, I don't believe you. Because women have been advised to lie about this. And no matter how much proving you try to do on social media or anything else, they're going to come back. I got my coffee over here. I keep almost bumping it. They're going to come back and they're going to say, hey, I don't care what your other friends say. This article advises to hide it with other friends. I don't care what your social media says. I don't care what your photos say. Articles like this have taught you, they teach women how to hide their past. And that's what you're going to get. All right, if you're here on YouTube, make sure to, as a reminder, to join me over on rumble.com or betterbachelor.locals.com, because that's where I do my dating profiles of the day. Some people have gone over there and said, dude, where's your dating profiles of the day? I do them at the end of my videos. So if you see this video on YouTube with the same thumbnail and the same video over on YouTube or on Locals, it's at the end of the video. I edit it out of my YouTube version. So if you watch it over on Locals and Rumble, you get the dating profile of the day at the end of the video. I'm trying to wean people off of being here on YouTube because YouTube honestly sucks and takes down a lot of really good work that people are doing because it doesn't fit in with the mainstream.